And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to my fellow dear podcast hosts, Jesper, Michael, Heidi. We're here together today for our end of the year special in the podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Fine, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you,
okay,
and soon a Happy New Year.
Fantastic. I'm really good, Pierre. Happy in the in-between days, as we would say, and good continuation.
Absolutely. Very good here as well, Pierre. Yeah, very good here as well. We can sense the US lag on the line already, Pierre, but I'm sure you'll introduce that to the guests shortly. But yeah, very good here. Thank you as well. Merry Christmas, and very much looking forward to a new year.
Awesome. Yeah, we're a bit spread out across the world here today. I was just telling the guys here before, I'm watching the sunrise as we are speaking at the moment here from the West Coast in the US. And I know that Jesper, you're in the north of Sweden. Heidi, you're in Sweden as well. And Michael, you're in Malta as well. So we're a bit spread out today and enjoying the middays here between Christmas and New Year's. But to kick things off today, I mean, we're doing a bit of an end of the year special here today. And the thought today is that we want to summarize the year that has been in the iGaming industry. You know, what has been the good, what has been the bad? Is there anything standout news or trends that has been in the industry? And of course, it's been a very, very hectic year in general for the industry. And we've taken leaps and bounds, I would say, this year. But as a starting point today, I would just like to hear our lovely podcast hosts giving their own little summary of the year that has been. And Jesper, why don't you start? Like, how's the life of Jesper Kärrbrink been in 2021?
The life it's treated me pretty good, I must say. But you have to look at this year from a bit of a perspective, and then it's just been a crazy year. I don't understand. I don't think we really understand how crazy it's been. We've been video meeting like this. We have not been traveling, and then it opens up, and then it closes again. We've been so affected by this COVID situation. So we kind of take it for normal now, and that shows me how adaptable we are as individuals. It also shows me how I have adapted during this year. And also learned a lot of new things, being one of these podcast hosts doing this podcast. That was not even a part of my world before. And suddenly I'm sitting here interviewing people around the world over video, and people are watching these things. And I mean, it's been crazy, but it's also been a cool year. And then if you look at the gaming industry per se, we're going to talk a lot about this, but it also we've seen some pretty cool new trends coming in, and we've seen some crazy things happening as well. So having these 30-40 minutes ahead of us will be, in my opinion, will be as interesting as this year has been. So no, I honestly, I had a good 2021, even though you shouldn't perhaps say that, because there's been so many people suffering from being sick or losing their jobs or whatever, and having been struggling. But in this industry, I think we coped extremely well, and we have to have some perspective into that.
The industry definitely showed its resiliency in both 2020 and 2021. That is absolutely true, Jesper. Heidi, what about you? Like, summarize 2021 a bit from your perspective. You built a new house. I mean, it's been a big year.
Yes. And I agree with a lot of the things that Jesper is saying, especially the thing that you have to say. You're not allowed to say this, but it's been pretty good, actually. I think how to say it, there are so many positives that COVID has brought out. I have some of those things in my discussion points today. But for me personally, it's been extremely good. We have adjusted in a way that we never thought that we were going to do. We moved to Visby, Gotland, an island in the Baltic Sea, that we were never planning to do that. That was a dream scenario that now sort of became possible. And the best thing, I also shared this with HR Connect Network, was kind of emotional. Like, I was still able to do my job with the fantastic people I work with, keeping those relationships. Those became sort of the steady parts when everything else around us changed. To the better one day, but still, the solid, you can still keep the things around you when you move around. And I think that's what we have been shown this year. And the efficiency of things. I mean, everything is being sent home to your house now. You don't have to go everywhere. So even the governments are following suit, and it's going really rapidly. So I can see very, very positive.
Absolutely, Heidi. The remote work situation has obviously enabled you to pursue your life dream here. It's been fun to see, you working towards that during the year, and now obviously come to a place where everything is coming together. So it's been awesome to see that, Heidi.
Exactly. Our house just came together.
Yes,
That's been a massive thing, building the entire thing from scratch almost.
Yeah. And Michael, I mean, for you as well, I mean, it's been a massive change in your life. You went from working in this like massive conglomerate organization, which is, Stars Group, to now taking over one of the most innovative iGaming organizations here in Livespins under Robin Reed as the new CCO. I mean, talk about your year, Michael.
Yeah, where do I start? So I'm going to be a little bit less positive, maybe. So I'll say it's been a mixed bag.
There has to be a balance,
which is called crap, and then there's the bag called fantastic, right? So on the personal front, obviously, having 2 small kids at home and online schooling, and the wife having to transform into a school teacher overnight, and all these challenges that I'm sure so many others have had as well. Buying a lot of tape so you can tape the kids to the floor so they don't move. All these things. So working from home has been great, but also comes with a lot of challenges for sure. As you mentioned, a bit of a roller coaster sort of career-wise. Left Flutter end of April, and then we had our second child pretty much at the same time. So we decided to have the summer focus on family, and then just super excited to join Livespins here in December. So yeah, it's been a mixed bag. Some crap and some good, Pierre. I would say that's my summary.
Awesome. Good that we have a bit of a balance here today, then, Michael. So you are mantling the dark side a little bit here today. Very good.
Trying.
Yeah, good. So on that note, I mean, why don't we jump into to some interesting movements within the industry that we've seen in this year? And I'm actually not going to start with a statement. I'm going to start with a question here for Michael, as we are alluded to. You are taking the helm here at Livespins, which is obviously a social push into the future of online gaming, and it's something we heard a lot this year, which is the beginning of social casinos. So Michael, why don't you start with just talking a little bit about why is this phenomenon happening now with social casino, and actually what is it, and what is the purpose here?
Yeah. No, so so first of all, I'm so happy to see that 2021, in my opinion, was actually the year where the social aspect of gaming and casino and all these things are starting to come through, and moving away from niche and into sort of more mass market. So super happy to see that. Like we spoke about on the other pod, Pierre. I mean, I think it's a trend we see outside of gaming as well, right? We see Apple doing it. We see Disney Plus doing it. We see the social shopping and happening like crazy in Asia. Not to repeat myself, but 1/3 of all online shopping in Asia happening through social shopping on social media networks now. It's just absolutely insane volume, and that trend is definitely continuing into the West. So this thing of shared experiences and trying to finally get the online casino experience to become less of a solo experience and more of a shared experience. I really saw that shine through in 2021. Livespins being one, Carolina's venture, Beyond Play being two. There's a number of us sort of pushing in that direction, and we're doing that because this is coming, this is happening, and we strongly believe in this. So 2022 is going to be super exciting to see when this really gets traction. So yeah, you can see I'm lighting up here. I'm so excited about this.
Pierre, could I jump in there? I understand, Michael, why you're lighting up, because you can feel when you feel that the trend is right, you feel it in your stomach and you get some energy from it. And in my opinion, you are right. What we will see the coming years, and hopefully 2022 is the start of that, is a different kind of mentality when you visit the casinos. Today, if you use some data here, today 7% of the population in the Scandinavia, perhaps that's only Sweden, but I think it's roughly the same in entire Europe. 7% of the population is playing slots. 7% is playing slots. 93% are playing multiplayer games or app store games, etc., etc. 93%. Basically, everyone has one in their phones. And we also know that 65% of the population is gambling in one way or another, buying a scratch ticket or playing the lottos or the pool games, etc., etc., or going to the casinos or whatever they do, or sportsbook. So that delta there between the 7 and the 65, that has to be filled with something for the casinos to continue growing, because we should remember that the growth on online casinos is coming from the 7% moving from offline to online. In a lot of countries now, these 7% are kind of online, like Sweden and other mature markets, and hence the rapid growth will stop, which means casinos need to look for a new audience, and that audience is not there to sit there and play slots solo. They want to do things together with others. They want to play other kind of games. We see this in Green Jade Games, where we are doing the skill-based the skill-based casino games, and combining that with multiplayer. I think that is a trend that will come strongly. We also see that casino realizes this today, and it's when they realize it, then it's when it will happen. So what you're doing today is that will probably fly. If not 2022, so 2023 and onwards, definitely.
What's your thoughts, Michael?
No, I fully agree, and it like you're saying, Jesper, you can also be too early, right? And I think I've been part of that ride as well when we did Let's Bet Casino in 2017. That was probably a bit too early, and people were not necessarily ready for the sort of social. It was too niche at that point. But now we're getting the help of literally the entire world pushing in this direction. I mean,
exactly.
It's happening with all the giants. I mean, you see as a service like Discord, for example, the insane growth they have seen as well. Obviously born out of e-gaming, but so many more communities finding their home, their circle. I mean, you mentioned all these community platforms, how what growth numbers they're delivering, and again, like we keep saying, right? I mean, we keep saying this is the young people, the Gen Z, the 18-year-olds. We keep saying, but they are now almost 40, right? They're late 30s now. This is critical mass for the industry, and it's just a trend we can't ignore anymore.
No, and you also have more adult people. Sorry, Heidi, continue.
No, I'm just like from a human perspective. I mean, this year and last year probably shown that much that the sense of belonging is really needed. And if you can't have it in your own house or in the office, I mean, you are finding it. And the 18-year-olds, they already found it before COVID on the internet, in whatever platform they're looking for, sort of, get their own interests met by others similar.
Yeah, I asked my sister.
It's a human trend.
Sorry,
human needs to be together, and sorry, Pierre, I just have to add something. You have a lag from the US, so you will always suffer from us jumping in.
Go ahead.
I have an antithesis or theory in this one, and that is actually that the bricks and mortar casinos will have a comeback, the physical casinos, and this comes from me. Me and my wife, we love go to the cinemas. That's been a bit tough during the pandemic, but before that, and I mean, before that, the cinemas were all sold out in Stockholm. People everywhere, and it's difficult to get seats, etc., etc. And then why? The film is the same. You can watch it at home. It's cheaper. It's simpler. You have your own popcorn and whatever. No one is sitting in front of you. Still, we go to the cinemas because we need to interact with people. We need to. The more digital we become, the more social we need to be at some point. We need to have people around us. And it's the same with football. Look at Swedish football. It's the worst in the Europe, and still like 50,000 watching AIK playing Hammarby. Because we love to be there around other people. And I think we will see the same in casinos. Some of these people that now...
experience. Yeah.
A shared experience, exactly. Human interaction, even if I don't speak to the people next to me on the cinema. Actually, they annoy me. I'm still sitting there and liking it. So I think we will see a trend when we actually see some people coming back to the physical casinos, especially since we have added some more to the online casinos. We open up a new world for them, and this kind of links in together. Sorry for jumping in there, Pierre.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting what you're mentioning, because the trends are always changing. And going back a few years on the community building argument, community building online only happened on Facebook at some point. They had like a monopoly on community building. They launched Facebook groups, there was the chats, the group chats, and so on. But case in point that the trends are changing is I'm here with my sister and my nieces, who are 14 and 17 here in California, and they don't even have a Facebook account. And asking them why they don't have a Facebook account, the reply is, "But Facebook, that's what our parents use." And what happens, like Michael alluded to on Discord, for example, Snapchat, other stuff. Right? So the monopoly is breaking up, and I think that goes to kind of like a wider push in society now, where or in the internet side of things, where community building happens more on decentralized platform, or more like more private platforms, so to say. And also it goes to say as well on the in-person things. I think it's very much a cinemas are popular today, but they might not be popular tomorrow. The foot games are popular today. It might be shifting trend something else tomorrow. But I think in the long term we'll still see a migration to social activities more happening online. So I'm gonna push against your antithesis a little bit, Jesper, and say that the overall trend is very much pushed towards socializations digitally. If I may, and that change is going to happen slowly, and there's going to be disruptions along the way. But I think when we have this conversation in 10 years' time, we'll unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know word, but I think that we'll be a lot more accustomed to having these type of conversations like we are having right now on a digital level rather than in person.
I think it's both, Pierre. You know how the life pendulum swings back and forth, right? Now we have been in, 10 years, let's call it that, where everyone has been focusing on solo stuff with their AirPods in their ears. How can I get more efficient? No, let me not play football because I want to only go for a run for myself because I can control my time better, and chop. Very, very sort of solo, isolated, highly efficient sort of world we've been pushing towards, right? And in the middle comes COVID, and now we suddenly realize that there are other things in life, and I strongly believe it's going to be both. So I think we are now, the pendulum is going to swing in the other direction, and we are now realizing what we're missing. We're seeing the downsides of too much isolation and self-focus to some extent as well. So I think you're both going to be right. I would like to add in the part of Jesper as well with land-based casinos. I don't know. It probably it probably varies by country, but a concept like private dinner parties at people's houses. The good old days that I remember from my parents, where still happening, of course, but not nearly as much as it used to. Where people actually, they come over, everything is nice. You come with a gift, and you have a nice dinner party, or you do the what's it called, the Jamie Oliver pop-up kitchens, where you just sort of say, hey, I'm cooking tonight, and 10 people will come over. These sort of concepts will flow for sure, I think, even more in the upcoming decade. That's my antithesis.
This is a case in point. Oh yeah, go ahead, Heidi. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I 100% agree, and I might be over my head here, Michael, thinking that now your parents are only spending their times on Facebook. I don't think that they do.
We swapped roles now.
Sorry.
Yeah, we swapped roles. Now they are in isolation
Exactly.
and
We
only
are the
focusing
new
on
ones.
themselves, and we are the social creatures suddenly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think what you guys are saying is very much what I wanted to cover as well, in terms of everyone has. It's like a global awakening happening all over at the same time, whereas other trends might lag in terms of technical development over the various. Some technology might be earlier in Asia, some human aspects might be earlier in Europe in terms of modernizing things. But in terms of the awakening and the focus on me, the individual understanding of this is me, what are my priorities, what is important, what is not important, who is important, who is not important, like really, this is what I need in life and this is what I don't need, and we start prioritizing. Whereas this has also accelerated so rapidly because the world has pushed this so much as well. And this is not only me and my physical or mental situations, but it's the environment, it's inclusion, it's diversity. So the entire sort of, we are all being, a new different versions of ours. So this is so we are all kind of changing. The question is, what about the next generation? Are they just going to sort of adapt after us, or are they just going to be like our parents before us? So I think there is a definite transformation happening here, because we all of a sudden understand something new that we never thought of before.
Yeah. Well, just to nail down the point of it, is changing. I mean, you guys remember when we were kids, and you would go to your neighbors, or you would go to your friend, and you knock the door, and you'd be like, "Oh, hello, is David at home?" And like in the 2000s, if you would do that, and now as well, like if someone would knock on your door without having pre-warned you that they are coming, you would like hide your family, because like no one knocks the door without it being something strange happening. And now this is happening on a meta level when you're calling someone. Like you don't really call people without pre-warning them that you're calling. Like we are separating ourselves more and more.
Well, that's basically one of the negative things with what we experienced this year. That you have to plan a call. It's like, fuck, come on, call me. If you need to talk to me, call me. Don't text me and say, can we call on Thursday 3:00? Yes. And then he calls me and say, hi, do you want to do this? No.
Yeah.
It's like, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Call me. But you're right. My kids, they never call me. They're texting. And then it's like, I don't re-text every minute. I have my phone in my pocket, and if I miss it, I miss it. And then I get, this is urgent. Please, can you answer this? Then I see it 3 hours later. My answer is, please call me next time. And they don't call. They can't call. It's like, I don't know. They got some phobia for calling.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, we went out. What do you call it? With the plastic thing in the slope.
The sledge.
The sledge.
Oh,
all of us. And we knocked the friends' doors on the way go to the hills, and they all said yes. So all of a sudden, we had like 7 kids in a succession going to the hills, going for sledge riding. So there you
go. You see, the trend is turning.
You see, the trend is coming, and they loved it, and you loved it. I think that's part of being human. You have to reach out to other people. You can't. I'm the oldest 14 here. I'm like stone old compared to you. So, but for me, that's important. Reaching out to people, talking to people, and inviting them to dinner parties and to sledge riding and whatever. And that's also why it's some of the sports popping up now, like paddle in Sweden, is crazy. Why? Yeah, because people can hang together. They can sweat and talk and swear and be happy. We need that. Yeah. This is fantastic. I wouldn't have met the 4 of you 2 days before, whatever it is, 3 days before New Year's Eve. Not a chance in hell unless we had it like this. This is fantastic. But at the same time, I meeting our friends down here, the hill in Åre in a couple of or tomorrow. That will be amazing as well. So we need them both, as you say. It's super important to have that human interaction.
I love you guys. I love that our end of the year summary of the iGaming industry went completely south here in the very beginning. but it's great. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think we were saying in the beginning we're gonna aim for half an hour, and now it's half an hour later. We haven't even started the conversation yet. Michael, tell me, what's the like a cool trend or a news or something, anything from the iGaming industry?
Looking backwards or looking forward?
Yes, backwards. 2021.
Okay, so so we spoke about social gaming already. I'm going to put that one aside. The other thing that I really noticed is I call it M&A 2.0. We really see with the U.S. market opening up, right? We're seeing the old money, the land-based, insanely big pockets coming into our industry, and what we thought was a big deal before is suddenly, looking like a peanut lying there alone on the floor. So it's just a whole different ball game, right? One thing that one deal that I think sort of stands out in sort of the mindset and the way of thinking is Caesar's acquisition of William Hill, and literally for the sole purpose of picking up their US business, and then later in the same year offloading it to 888, the whole international business, effectively, right? So just the fact that you go, let me pull out $3 billion or whatever the transaction amount was, and then resell the international business to 888 for whatever 2.1 or 2.2 billion, and then I have paid sort of 700 million for the US business, which I really was interested in the first place. I mean, just the whole craftsmanship and the mindset and the capital strength that such an exercise requires, for me, was a standout in this year, and I think it just sort of signals we're only scratching the surface. There's going to be so much more of these, enormous sort of venture capital and sort of professional investors coming in that will just bring a whole different ball game. It looks like we have been in kindergarten up until 2021, and now we're sort of moving into middle school.
Michael, I totally you pinpoint two very, very strong trends, the consolidation or the M&A 2.0 in the US and that one. But most importantly, what you put the finger on is how different the Europe and US is. The European gaming market is to 90% driven by entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial started companies. We should remember that the largest companies, take away some of the William Hill, no, that's been there for like 100 years and so forth. But if you take 80% of the stock listed gaming companies today started like 10, 15 years ago by entrepreneurs and are still driven like small companies, even if they have pretty large shareholder values or stock values. We have been driving them. I was running Mr. Green like an entrepreneurial company. And then comes the big guys. They've been running gaming companies for 40, 50 years, and they know how to turn customers into players. They know how to capitalize on this one. They buy another casino group for a couple of X billions. And as you say, we are standing there like small kids. That's, wow, look at these guys. And they have done this for so many years, and we just dragged in. It's like a wave coming, just sweeping us away, and we are impressed by that wave as well. We think like, this is the coolest ever. So you're right, and that fascinates me, and it also tells me something about that. We have to have some perspective to this. We are beginners in a very early industry, which is online gaming, and out there are experts that's been doing gaming, not online, but gaming as a business for much longer time than we have, and made more money on it than we have. So yeah, that will create some interesting situations.
Do you think, Jesper, is it that they are better at building gambling companies, or is it that the Americans are just so much better at scaling organizations to like in the billions, whereas our industry doesn't really have that competence.
Yeah. First of all, their Europe is one country. Our Europe is like 32 countries, so they have a much larger market. It's for you being in San Francisco, it's not a problem popping into Las Vegas a couple of days and just go back and forth, and no passport needed, no it's domestic flight, etc. For me to go down to Monaco, it's you don't just go there to go to casinos, you do other things as well. So I think they have a much larger market, and by that they have been much better on scaling than we are, and they have fine-tuned the profession of gambling and turning that into profitable companies. And I think I know, to answer your question, I think it's the scale. They are good at scaling, and that's why we see they are doing these deals, because they see how much faster they will scale. If Caesars is buying William Hill's, they will scale so much faster than doing it themselves, and hence they can do this pretty bold move of buying something and then try to offload like 80% of it, because they know if we succeed with this one, it's going to be extremely successful.
Absolutely.
I just looked it up. You can't cheat. Okay, when was the first casino opened in Las Vegas?
1940. No, 1956, 1952.
1930.
36.
36.
31.
So they done it for 90
We're almost
years.
100 years anniversary now soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
And the first casino was not started as California. It was called California. Do you see that as well, Michael?
Think, yeah, I'm reading it here. El Rancho, the first hotel casino in the city. There you go.
Okay, and when did the first online casino started? When did they have the first online casino? Heidi, what's your guess?
I'm thinking 99.
I'm gonna say 97.
I'm thinking later. I'm thinking something like 2000. Okay, 99. I'm saying 2004.
No, Bodog,
Definitely earlier.
or something. Yeah, definitely earlier.
What's that?
There was the guys of what are they called? The
Michael, you are
company. Top Intertops, I think, were the first ones. Intertops, that was like 97,
Okay.
I think.
Depends on
Michael,
how you define it. So good old Wikipedia here. So it depends on the definition, of course. But the first online gambling venue that was open to the general public was ticketing for the Liechtenstein International Lottery in October 1994. There you go.
Okay, but that's buying some scratch tickets online.
Liechtenstein.
That's buying scratch tickets online. That's not cool.
Exactly.
Check when Intertops were founded. I think that was like the earliest one. Intertops were super early.
Kanawaki Gaming Commission was established in 96. There we go. What else? What did you say? Intertops?
Yeah, Intertops is like an Austrian company. I think they were super early.
Yeah.
Also Bodog were in the 90s as well. Let's see.
Intertops is celebrating
96.
25 years. Yeah, exactly.
Intertops were founded in 96. With sports betting
located
in Antigua.
97. Good guess, Heidi. You won.
But the El Rancho, the live one, was that on Strip or the Strip? Which one is actually the oldest?
Strip came later.
So
the old town
Street came later, or is it just being hyped later?
He says here, he built El Rancho, the first hotel casino in the city. It was built in the area that came to be known as the Vegas Strip.
Oh, wow.
There you go. A guy called Tommy Hull.
Oh.
Nobody knows him now. He vanished.
You should have a statue.
Exactly. He brought many businessmen to Las Vegas, and many hotel casinos were built. Anyway, long story, but something like that. It looks like the Strip.
Cool.
But
Michael, you were right. Those two trends are. I mean, they in my book they kind of define 2021 to some extent. And then the third one that I had on my list is, I wrote down fucked up regulations, but I can't say that in recordings. I say over-regulating.
Okay.
And we saw that as a pretty strong trend this year coming in, where especially in Sweden, where we to some part change the regulation, but also look at Germany. Germany is not trying to regulate; they're trying to destroy something, and we see some effort coming in more and more regulated markets, and that's a bad thing. We all know this, and we don't have to go deeper into it. But that was a trend, really starting 2021, and I hope it dies in 2022.
It needs to dawn on certain people.
Yes.
While we're talking about this offline and online, I also had a point as the hybrid, which obviously online casinos is a version of. So the hybrid way of living, communicating with friends. Are we going to dinners at friends' houses, or are we having kind of hangout? Life, I think hybrid will become a part, and obviously this is one of the big discussions that we've been having year 2021, discussing, planning, visualizing a good hybrid setup. Nothing has yet been tested that long, as far as I know, to be evaluated yet. So that will come next year, and like, what does actually work? And probably this will fluctuate and change over time. But we are this year trying to sort of settle the plans. This is how we're going to do it. Now we just need to communicate it to our people, and then take it from there. How people choose to take it as a positive thing, restrictions or regulations, that's very much up to the personal individuals. But hybrid is discussed and will be discussed for years to come.
Heidi, I have a question for you. I mean, you are dealing with 30 different iGaming companies and their HR departments on almost on a daily level, and you obviously discussed this within HR Connect, the industry organization that's representing all these organizations. And so, what's your feeling in general? Have most of these 30 companies aligned on a strategy and how they approach hybrid work, or is it very much like a big spectrum of different standpoints within these organizations, how they deal with it? Are some more lenient than others, or are kind of everyone agreeing that hybrid is the way forward? And is there any learnings that we have drawn from this in the last 1.5 years?
Yeah, there are the oddballs out that goes aiming towards office-based with all good with reasons. But 95, 98% are saying we're going hybrid with 2 or 3 days in the office. We all understand that this is the new way of working because it's inclusive, it's good for the environment, it's good for mental health, life-working balance. We can now get out of the house where our children are. We can also spend more time and do the laundry while we are between a meeting. We can get life puzzle to work. We all understand that. This is the new way. However, what we know is that most of the companies that we have in our network are planning have been planning this into action in the last half year of 2021. So Q3, Q4, we started seeing this taking place. What we haven't seen is the actual, how rigid are these frameworks, and does rigidity work, or should it be entirely optional? And optional probably doesn't work if our companies are going to be entirely productivity focused, and there will be biases coming in. Heidi sits in Sweden while the other ones are coming in the office. I'm wondering what's happening over there. There will be a lot of other things coming into play that will sort of rule on the outcome. This will be tackled over years. So I think that there are certain things that will work, but the actual how is this going to work, we don't have the key to. Some of the minimize their offices already and started with
Heidi, this is super interesting, and you're right. Hybrid will be the big thing. And from a management point of view, I think it would be a huge challenge as well. This is something that all managers has to learn to live with and to handle. I mean, just an example, your best whatever coder, he says, yeah, I can do this, but I only do it from home. And you're going to say no or yes to her. You're going to say yes. And then comes the next one that you know that if she or he is working from home, it won't be as good as when you have them here because that code is not as senior or whatever. And to that person, you have to say no. And then it's going to be like, yeah, but she can, I can't, and so forth. And handling these questions on the daily level as a middle manager will be super tough. So we need to teach our managers and to learn them a new skill set in how to manage people on a more detailed level that we haven't been bothered about before. Come to the office 8 o'clock and you can leave 5 o'clock, and between that you deliver this and this and this, and I support you, blah, blah, blah. But that's not going to happen in the same ways anymore. So this will put some more strain on managers, especially middle management, I would say.
Yeah, and that actually takes me to my third point. The training that has really, really been scaled up for managers. My personal think there's been too much pressure on managers the last 2 years. Because first you have to do your job, which you all know that it's only managing. And then you have to start managing people and make sure to reach out. You become sort of responsible for other people. In a way we were not prepared for. So the training and the upskilling soft management in terms of how do we understand, how can we meet our employee needs the best so that they can peak their output performance. That's the training that the managers need, and they need the time to do that. Then we can possibly all full remote situation moving forward.
If I can share a story, Pierre, because I think we're right in the middle of this right now, and of course, so Live Sprints is part of Happy Hour, as you probably know. So Accelerator and Fund, funded by Robin Reed and a number of other people, and you know, sort of across all the brands, we have crossed the 100 employee mark now. Still a very young company, and of course, it's easier for us to navigate this because we're not this giant beast of 20,000 employees, et cetera, but we don't have all the answers, but we're leaning very much into this. So we're going all in with metaverse. We're building an office in the metaverse, and we are not going to invest into physical desks and the traditional office at all. We're talking about sort of hubs, as we all know, where people can meet, and you can have client meetings and these kind of things, more sort of collaboration spaces. But we're doubling down on metaverse, Oculus headsets, and meeting in that world, and sort of really building that out. So that's going to be super fun how that's going to play out in 22 cool. For sure.
Michael, then I have a question. Will you allow them to be avatars, or do I have to be myself?
I want to be a dragon.
I want to be a guest in this place.
Exactly. We haven't gone that far yet, but I think Robin is spearheading this, and he's really so visionary when it comes to these things. So I'm pretty sure, within certain boundaries, everything will be allowed, more or less. I think you can be
I like it. I love it. It's so cool, and you're probably doing the right thing. But I spent some time. Actually, I saw an article yesterday about Nike buying a company doing
Artifact.
NFT shoes.
Yeah, Artifact.
And I kind of, okay, that's cool because NFT is the hottest right now. But then I realized, no, that's a business opportunity. They're going to sell these shoes to my avatar that I have when I am in the metaverse. So it makes sense. It's business sense. But then I start thinking about, okay, why? Cool, we're going to have a metaverse office. Would I allow avatars there? No. being this old fart again, I would say no, because I want to see the people I'm working with. I don't want to see their avatars. I don't want to see their alter egos, etc., etc. I want to see them. I need to see them to trust them. So in my metaverse office, there will be no Nike avatar shoes. Sorry, guys, you have to be.
But Jesper, you can put a real photo on top of the dragon, right, or whatever you want to see.
Exactly. Should do that.
You can do both.
And by the way, this is my avatar. In real life, I'm really cool.
This is you're being your authentic self, Jesper, in the metaverse.
Exactly.
Very good. I like it. I mean, to your point, Jesper, as you're saying, Nike just invested in Artifact, this digital shoe making company, and Adidas, they just dropped their first NFT collection a couple of weeks ago, and they sold like
Sold out,
22
right?
million dollar worth of NFTs in like 2 minutes, like more or less, like and it's just a mind-blowing space in general. And if I may as well chime in here, I think in the NFT space obviously has exploded this year, and I heard the expression NFT for the first time in like February, March or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you were early. I was much later.
Yeah.
You bought land, didn't you?
Yes, and I mean, so I just jumped on the bandwagon and bought some like digital land in the Sandbox metaverse for $1,000, and people looked at me like I was ashamed of saying it, And we sold that like part of that land, me and my friend, yesterday actually, for like 15 times what it was worth in March. It's insane, the whole space, but. The interesting thing is it's such a new space, and how we see NFTs is like digital art right now. That's how people associate NFTs. But in reality, NFTs is the online version of claiming ownership, and that can be very much expanded right now. And so why I'm saying that I heard the expression NFT for the first time in February is because the technology is not new. It's been there for a couple of years, but people thinking about what to do with the technology has only existed for months, really, on a large scale, right? So yeah. I think 2022, and for the iGaming space, I know that there are a lot of organizations right now within our industry that are trying to figure out what we can do to leverage this technology. Digital authentication, in terms of building slot machines that has actual NFTs in them that you can win, but not just the art side of things. It's the authentication that is interesting to the iGaming industry potentially, and also use cases that we definitely cannot even imagine right now, that potentially will change the industry as well. So I would say that for me is one of the standout kind of emerging technologies that we have scratched the surface on in 2021, that is going to have its year to shine in 2022. That would be my prediction.
Yeah, I agree, Pierre. I'm not sure it's going to be 2022, but it starts now. We're going to see that trend setting itself. And there are so many business opportunities for this. Like if you take gaming, I can sell skins in any game. I can sell, and then I am the sole owner of that digital skin, and basically I can re-rent it back to the gaming companies. Every time some player is buying that skin, I should have 10% of that or whatever. There are so many things we can do in this industry with NFTs, because this is a digital industry, and this is, as you say, this is digital ownership. It's not digital art per se. It's digital ownership, and the more digital we become, and the more. Sorry?
How regulated is it?
And not at all. It's blockchain, so it's basically self-regulated, which means that you can buy dirty shit, but that you can do for regular dollars as well. So there will always be a gray or black side of things. But I think you're right, Pierre. It will start happen, and especially when Michael is done with his metaverse and his employee wants to pimp up their offices, I'm going to be there selling them some digital art that I made. So yes, absolutely. You are right, Pierre. This is a trend that starts not only in iGaming but in total.
Yeah,
in life.
In all industries. Absolutely.
Yes.
And the problem right now is that there just aren't enough experts in this field in order to, on an intelligent way, be able to guide these big organizations into how they can leverage this technology. There's a shortage of consultants or experts because the technology is new. I mean, the ones who are reading about it kind of are, there is no experts per se, other than
No.
the true pioneers that started
No,
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, and most important, there are very few business development experts. You find some technical experts, perhaps not enough, but there are people knowing this, how this works from a technology point of view. But there's still a lot of room to develop this as a business and as enterprises, and there you don't have any. I haven't seen any yet, though, but that will come, of course.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I think we've gone full circle with the internet, because in the late 90s, it was a lot of kids who were the true innovators in the space. I mean, Elon Musk, he coded his first video game when he was 13, and he founded whatever it was, like X.com that became PayPal when he was a teenager, all the things. And I think in our space now, it's the kids that we should keep an eye on what they are doing right now, because they are the ones that are absorbing this technology and who understands it much better than our generation, which is a bit older.
I think that's so key, Pierre. If I can add a comment to that, I think this is what we need to realize. Even us in this forum here, right? When it comes to all these new techniques and platforms and whatever is coming out, we're already kind of dinosaurs, right? And so a lot of the senior managers that are sitting out there, as opposed to trying to figure it out yourself, really and truly the challenge you need to figure out is, how am I going to hire the people who knows this in and out? How am I going to integrate them into my organization? How am I going to change the structural setup of my organization to allow these new concepts to blossom and sort of find their home and sort of mix together with what we already have, the hybrid, coming back to you, Heidi, right? So but I think that's such a dangerous thing, that we're that the dinosaurs are trying to figure out how this works, and you're never ever going to get there. The only way you're going to get there I mean, you need to be humble. You need to admit that we're not the experts in this anymore, and we shouldn't try to be either. We should try to understand it, but we need to be super fast at hiring. And like you're saying, Pierre, the problem is, if you use Malcolm Gladwell's definition of an expert, you need, 10,000 hours, right? That's whatever, a year and 3 months. And like you said, the first time you heard about it was February this year. So there is, by definition, zero experts out there yet. But a lot of people trying.
And then, Michael, I need to reconnect this to one of the first things we talked about, and that how the big land-based casinos are acquiring a lot of the entrepreneurial gaming companies, or the European ones, and looking at the use, and they are a different breed. I mean, if you look at the iGaming, the online casinos, perhaps not the sportsbook, but if you look at the iGaming casinos, they're like 10 years behind Europe in sense of a user experience and such things. And bringing up the NFT to a CEO of one of the largest Swedish casinos, it will get some traction, definitely. Bringing that up to a US casino that is struggling with getting like the best games on top and getting to searchable, etc., etc. That's like, it's like Jurassic Park. It won't fly. So this would be interesting to see where this takes off. At the same time, the US are driving the NFTs as we see them right now. But I'm not sure that's going to happen among those big casinos. But I might be wrong. Hopefully I am.
Yeah, look at DraftKings. I mean, DraftKings obviously have launched the NFT marketplace, and if you look at Jason Robin, the CEO's Twitter profile picture, he currently has a Bored Ape NFT that is worth like way too much money, and a little bit of a humble brag from his side of thing, I guess. But the point is that DraftKings, as one of the biggest gambling companies in the world, US based, are going all in on this vertical. Now, it remains to be seen. It's a very volatile space. So, and DraftKings is a very volatile stock as well. So it's a high risk, high reward gamble, I would say, that DraftKings is currently undertaking. But nonetheless, they are there, and it's for others to follow.
But they're also just approaching it in such a different way, Pierre, right? as opposed to thinking we are in this narrow space called online gambling, they are looking much more wide and saying, okay,
Yep.
who is the audience we attract, and what other services or products would that audience be interested in, and could we be that brand for them across the board, right? And I think
Exactly.
thinking in that way is 100% right, and we are boxing ourselves in way too much. So I don't know. I'm super curious to see where this takes them, what they come up with, and I think there's a lot to learn. I honestly do.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Robin has this vision that he wants DraftKings to be $1 trillion company with a T, and to get to that point, you have to look at other verticals as well. That is absolutely for sure.
100%. How exciting! I think it's cool.
Yeah,
pushing the industry forward, right?
They could also become a $1 company. It remains to be seen. DraftKings, it's a gamble, but we are in the gambling industry, so I kind of.
But they come from an interesting background. They are not the bricks and mortar casino. I don't mind the bricks and mortar casinos. On the contrary, I think they would do a fantastic job, as you said before. But DraftKings is a different beast, and as you say, it's going to be so cool to follow what they're doing. Either they're going to fly trillion high, or they're going to not fly.
Exactly.
Well, I think they're going to fly.
But they're definitely going to push the industry. They're definitely going to push the industry forward.
So absolutely, and that's
regardless of what happens, right? I think that's the the momentum that they are creating, and I think that not only them. I mean, there are so many others, but they're definitely waving the flag very, very visibly, right? And trying to do something new and approach something new, and hats off for that. And I think that creates such a good momentum for everyone else to try and catch up. And what the hell are these guys doing? And are we doing something wrong? Should we do something else? Have we missed something? And that is that's the lifeblood of what we're trying to do, right? Innovate and push the boundaries. So I love it. I think it's so cool they're doing this.
Me as well. It's going to be interesting to see in a year's time how we discuss DraftKings. I have a feeling it's going to be a totally different company as to what it is today, for better or for worse. We have to see. Guys, we're going to start running off a little bit now. Our 30-minute podcast is now up to an hour, and that's what happens when you have a lot of fun. But I have one last question for all of you guys, and I was thinking that we've been talking a lot about the industry and its organizations, but what about its people? And I was thinking maybe there's a couple of people here as we close off the year that we'd like to give some credit to, that have been a bit standouts in the industry, that has done something a bit differently, or they have done something really well, or they accelerated the organization, or could be on a small level, on a managerial level, or on a CEO level, whatever you guys choose. But I'd like to start with Jesper. If there's anyone that you think should have some credit, or any number of people perhaps.
Yes, I have two. I have Elizabeth Oost at Aspire, what she's doing in responsible gaming, and what she's doing on the environmental side with Aspire, supported by Tsachi. It's amazing. I love it. They're running a tight ship, and still they have time and they have ambitions to invest in CSR, responsible gambling, but and also in the climate. So they have a very, very strong plan to reduce their carbon dioxide footprint the coming years, and I admire them for that. That was one of my trend hopes for 2021 last year, and that this industry should take that up on a much broader level, and Aspire did. So kudos to them and to Lisbeth who runs that. And then, of course, being in Sweden, I have to comment on Pontus Lindvall. I love him. He's one of the veterans in this industry. He started, basically, he was part of founding NetEnt. He was one of the first investors and one of the first drivers in Betsson, etc., etc. And run that company for so long. And then one day, you open up the newspaper and he's fired. It's like, whoop, what happened here? And then you open up the same newspaper a couple of weeks later, and he's back. I love that. It's so cool. And no, but he's a great guy, and it's I'm glad he's back again.
I love the fact that in Betsson's internal all hands meeting they put they photoshopped Pontus Lindvall in as a Jedi, and the Return of the Jedi in Star Wars when he was reinstated as CEO. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant.
That's cool.
Amazing.
Oh, so that was my two people that comes to mind. There's so many more. Sorry if I haven't mentioned you all, but these are the two right now. Yes.
Absolutely. Michael, what about you on your end? Is there anyone, any organization even, or people that deserves credit?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that deserve credit. I have chosen a sort of a somewhat unconventional one, and I've actually chosen you, Pierre. To be honest. So I think, I mean, you and me have been business partners for many years, and it's not to do something internal here at all, but I honestly think you deserve a ton of credit. So you were actually one of the first people telling me when the pandemic hit, and I was talking about Maslow's pyramid, and now people will go down, and they will stop learning because suddenly it's security and safety and blah blah blah. And you were one of the first ones to say, no, this is completely opposite. Now is the time to double down. Now there is the opportunity. Now we need to go all in. And I think having that sort of courage and vision, and also doing it with iGaming Next, and with all the activities that you have driven, Pierre, together with the team, has shown that, right? I mean, from very early day one, as opposed to waiting for offline events to happen again, you double down on online digital instead of trying to take a clunky offline concept and put it into a streaming software that we didn't even know existed a year ago, Restream, that we're using today. You reinvented it, pulled it all apart, and put it together again. So I think I really think you deserve credit, Pierre, for courage, for vision, and for just non-stop, full speed ahead. Let's double down, and look what has happened in the last 12 months with iGaming Next. It's insane. So well done, Pierre.
Oh my God, you're stroking my ego here, Pierre. Here, Michael. My team is gonna hit this.
No,
you can pay me later.
You're worth it. And most importantly, you're bringing your studio mic all the way to San Francisco. That just shows how professional you are.
Pierre, that's insane.
I agree with Michael. I want to highlight the entire sort of iGaming Next as a concept, and also obviously HR Connect as a part of that. Surrounding, sort of being as part of the meta gaming world, satelliting around it, communicating and reporting back to everyone, free of charge, what is happening, and getting people in the industry to listen in and to being active in learning. HR Connect is obviously a fantastic concept that we founded in 2018 with you, Michael, as well. So now we've grown this year 50% in members, and I mean that's also going back to the sense of being part of a community and how important this is. So these concepts that we're doing, I think they're perfect and they're very much time. I've had good chats where as well. Like now it's the time to think positive. There's so many good things that can come out of it, and it's around us that there's good things that we can do out of it.
Absolutely, it's a world of opportunity, and it's in this space that we are in right now. And like Jesper said before, it's a tragic situation at the same time, but the world is changing and the trends are changing, and this is the time to capitalize on that for sure. I would like to highlight two people as well, actually, to close this thing off today. I think Nick Robinson deserves credit. He built Big Time Gaming with the size of a football team as a team to a multi-million pound exit to Evolution earlier. I mean, he came in from sideways as well and built something totally different, disregarded what others are doing, and just did his own thing. And he completely he came up with some of the most in the industry in the last couple of years, and led and managed to create those ideas into actual products and into an actual exit in one of the most profitable, one of the highest margin organizations in the entire industry. Absolute genius, and I think he deserves to be mentioned in this podcast. I also think that not to go only in our own circles here, as we've done a lot now, but I think Robin Reed as well deserves a lot of credit for having a hard time in GIG. He built his company up to the stars, and then obviously things went a bit south for GIG for a while. The board of directors decided to let Robin go, and a lot of notes at that time would have been heartbroken. Just like Steve Jobs, he was ousted by Apple from his own company, as was Robin Reed. And what did Steve Jobs do? He came back even stronger. And what did Robin Reed do? He came back even stronger. And I think part of his fire is to kind of prove people wrong. That is the feeling I'm getting sometimes for Robin. And I think in 2021, he has absolutely proven people wrong through Ichiban Ventures, and also now through Happy Hour and the many investments that he is doing into the industry. One of them, of course, being Live Spins. And I think that he has taken a lot of things that he has done from building GIG, like the good things that he learned and the mistakes that he did, and to build an absolute powerhouse of the industry. And I think going into 2022, that is going to be evident to everyone. So also, I think he's just a very respected leader. Anyone who works under Robin is just thrilled to be working under someone like him. So I think definitely he deserves some credit here as well today. Very good. So guys, let's start rounding off here a bit today. It's been great to do this. I mean, we didn't plan that much, and look at all the interesting discussion points that we managed to bring out today. And as from a personal level, Jesper, Michael, Heidi, I must say that it's been an absolute pleasure to go through this year with you guys. As you said, Jesper, here, if it wasn't for these kind of digital opportunities, we wouldn't have been able to kind of form these friendships and partnerships and opportunities that we've done through this year. And it's been just a blessing for me to be able to learn from all of you guys through your podcast series. And I hope that we can continue in even better light in 2022 and onwards together. So just a warm thank you from me and the team of iGaming Next, and hopefully we can continue all of this. Any final words from you guys?
No, thank you a lot. It's time for after ski here in Åre, so I'm heading out now, and it's been a pleasure. The longest 30 and funnest 30 minutes in a long time.
I'm ready for the new year. Absolutely. Thank you all.
Yeah, same here. I need to go and take the tape off the kids so they can run around again. So yeah, it's been a tremendous joy this year. Let's rock 2022 together. It's going to be so much fun.
All right, from all of us to all of you,
cheers,
all the listeners. Happy New Year! Take care of each other. Stay safe, and let's do it, everyone.
Yes, happy
Thank
New
you.
Year. Cheers. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.